as Peter's son. I'm his best man, trying to live up to that as best as I can. It's just really, I can't believe that we're here, and I know that a lot of you kind of feel the same.
We're going to drink today.
We shared the shock.
We shared it. We're happy.
But it's a happy disbelief. I first met Linda when she flew out to Boston when my mother was in the hospital, and we really thought she had days, and we were just all sort of in shock and kind of gathered around as a family in sort of morose mood. And Linda dropped everything, flew out, and just lifted everybody up, and really provided a ballast for our family at a time that we really needed it. And so, I've corresponded with Linda off and on since then. So when Dad told me, it was a shock. Yeah. But it also immediately made sense, and it immediately felt right. And I couldn't be happier. And to see the change that has come over Dad in the last month has really been a wonderful thing to see. And so I raise my glass to both of you, and best of luck.
Here.
All right. That's fine.
I just want to say a few words. First of all, thank you for coming. I know it's short notice. And 6 weeks ago, I never knew we would be here. I've known Linda for almost 60 years. As friends over the years, and our families connected with each other over the years. And I knew Jack very well. He and I rode together for 2 years, 2 solid years. And we went canoeing up in the Boundary Waters together. And after, one of the things that is hard after your spouse dies is learning to live on your own. And it's not a lot of fun when you've spent 50 plus years with somebody. And half of you is gone. Half of that person is gone. All the memories, all the associations is gone. And I invited Linda down to Jamaica in March. It was 2 bedrooms. But my thought at the time, because we had corresponded, we had talked over the interim since last summer, and gotten to know each other even more. And Linda is somebody I've always admired. I've always been in awe of her energy, of her organizational skills. Who else could pull this off in a month? Yeah. Nobody.
We're all in awe.
So, and I'm very appreciative of the Heschlers being here. I know there's a lot to Linda, and therefore it means a lot to me. It's important, plus all the other friends, not all of Linda's friends, but her closest friends. So it's nice to have met you, and hopefully I'll get to meet you in the future. But I just wanted to say thank you. And thank you to my wife.
So, I know this room is full of Heschlers. There are many Blybergs who could not be here. And so I have a little message from 2 of them that that I'd like to read on their behalf.
Speak loudly.
To everything, there is a season under heaven. Linda and Peter, your longtime friendship has now become a lifetime commitment. This is your time. How wonderful for both of you. May you experience many years of warm companionship and love as you head off to Ireland and your life ahead.
That's good.
May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palms.
Oh, beautiful. Nice.
Much love from Claire and Ann. By the way, Ann said that if I didn't cry, it would not be an Irish.
I think it's only apropos that I went up to ask Linda if it was okay if I give her toast. I just want to make sure that it was during the right time. But I just wanted to say a few things. First of all, I have a poem to read, so I have something a little later that's more prepared than my remarks. But first of all, I just want to say, Linda, I've known you for practically my whole life, right? I'm 12 years old. I'm at the wedding, and with my little red coat on and my Bermuda shorts. But I've known you throughout the years. And when I first knew you, you were this beautiful woman that's my older brother's wife, and you were new to the family, and you were vivacious, and really you were a force in our family. But as I grew older, and as our lives came together, and that we're only 9 years apart, right? But when you're 12 years old and someone's 21 years old, that's a big difference, right? But as we get older, we become, so I see you differently because you now become more my peer, my contemporary. And I grow not so awestruck by you, but awestruck by your abilities, your commitment to the community, what you did with your family, raising their family, you as a businesswoman at Target and Dayton Hudson, and everything that you've accomplished in your life. The Minnesota Composers, you really are a force of nature. And I'm sure that Peter's gonna get ready for that now, Peter.
Come back,
But it was, so I've seen you in all these roles, and I also want to say too, thank you, because you were such a source of inspiration to my family and to my children and to Judy and myself. You're always very helpful and very genuinely always helped us with whatever we needed, and you were very gracious in that way, and I really want to express to you thank you after all these years taking care of us, and always if there was anything that needed, and you would be wonderful. As anybody that's dealt with Linda, she knows somebody, and she's going to connect you with somebody, right? So thank you, Linda. But have you known you this in this very kind of deep and meaningful way? The one part of Linda that I've never known is the giddy girl that's in love.
Right.
This young, giddy girl that's in love. That I've never seen.
That's very good.
And I have to say that we, Judy and I, about a month ago, just serendipitously said, we were in town and said, hey, Linda, let's go to have dinner. And it was short notice, talking about short notice, it was just like that afternoon, and she said, sure, that'd be great, let's go to dinner. We met over in St. Paul, and Linda drove up in the car, and there's a little story here, but she drives up in the car, and she jumps out of the car, and as I look back on it, I thought, okay, this is a little bit different here. This is like something's going on. I'm not quite sure, but she's pretty. I suppose I'd go back and say she almost appeared like she was floating on air, but in retrospect. But anyway, okay, we greet, and I walked her across the street, and we're walking in, and hey, it's great, it's wonderful, and she said, I said, well, how are things going? Oh, that's great. I was in Jamaica, and I'm kind of like listening. Okay, yeah, Jamaica on a trip, and that's wonderful. And then so, but I'm not really thinking who she's in Jamaica with. She travels a lot, so I think, oh, she went for Jamaica. That's great. And so we get to the bar, we sit down, we greet. Judy's there, and Judy says to Linda, hey, you look great. How are things going? And
How was Jamaica?
Huh?
I said, how was
Yeah,
Jamaica?
how is Jamaica? And Linda says, I feel great. Yeah, it's great. And I'm getting married. So at that point,
No segue.
there's no segue. It's like, chop my arm off. Or whatever Tristan said. It was like, you're getting married, and it was funny, the reaction. I never in my life. It's like time stopped. It's almost like it froze. Like like these movies, and all of a sudden everything stopped. And it was like I couldn't even respond. I didn't really know what she was saying. I didn't even the thing about I'm getting married. It didn't even kind of like getting married to what? I don't know what that is. But Judy tuned into it right away. Now she said, "Are you really? Are you really getting married?" And I'm still standing there like dumbfounded.
Meanwhile, Jay's face is twisted into the most amazing Kristen Wiig face from Saturday Night Live. What? Once we realized it was like, okay, so tell us more.
Well, it was wonderful, and what I want to say about all of that, and for Peter, is that I've never seen Linda. As I said, I've never seen her in that giddy, childlike, wonderful, girl-like love that she was radiating in that moment. And she was full and flush, and she was beautiful, and it was really wonderful to see that and to see her. And once I stopped, once I could have myself, I could see this, and I could see that whoever she was with, although I must say, when she did say Jamaica and then the marriage, I'm thinking, ganj. Maybe she's on weed now. Maybe that's right. And maybe it's not somebody that. But truly, and then she told us, of course, everything about it. It sounded wonderful, and it was really cool. And Father Kevin talked about the pursuit of happiness, and I have a little poem that I want to read to you, which is apropos to where you are in your lives. It's maybe not a poem for the ages, but I say it's a poem for the aging. So, but it is in the spirit of the pursuit of happiness. So, it's called Next Year, and it's by Gary Johnson. So let me see if I can do this justice. When we win the lottery next year, wait, let me back up. Think of Peter. When we win the lottery next year, let's buy a flat in Paris, France. And I will worship you, my dear, in lovely rooms with flowering plants. Me, a somewhat endearing old relic, all jolly but still charming man. And you, my darling, rather angelic, reclining prettily on the silk divan. When I'm tired and I don't feel well, pack me off to a nice hotel with Egyptian sheets and fresh cut flowers and room services 24 hours. When I die, which I will do, wear black for a month or two, then look around and find someone new. So here's to you for a continued life of happiness and joy together. You're a wonderful couple, and I wish you all the best. We all wish you all the best. It's fantastic what you're doing, and very courageous at what you're doing.
You nailed it. Thank you very much. And I agree.
Thank you, older brother.
I agree very much, 100%. Thank you, Jake. Thank you very much. But really, JJ did hit on so many good points, and I agree. You couldn't say it better. But I got to just share a couple things. One, and Peter, we're excited so much to spend time with you and Linda and traveling. I talk about a travel partner. Linda is. She can write the book. Maureen and I, and this is a fact that I've probably before went to Rome 10 times, went with Jack and Linda. One time, Maureen and I joined Jack and Linda. We learned more in 4 days than we did in 10 trips. And it was just fascinating.
Pardon me, Jake,
They're
but are
organized.
you inviting yourself on the honeymoon?
I am. I love Ireland. I want to go back to Ireland. Irish shy. My homeland. Even though I'm German, who gives a damn? But I got to say that really the other. First off, though, we really do look forward to doing some traveling with you guys. Believe me, I know how good it is, and we're not going to miss a chance when we get a chance. Marie's gone to her.
Jimmy, from one traveler to another.
Yeah.
One traveler to another.
Well, Linda's gone, and Marie's gone with Linda to Rwanda and different places. We've gone with you over to Istanbul and everybody, mighty, yeah. But we've had a great time together, and it's really a great experience. The other thing I was going to say though is. And I think on Peter's side of the family, Linda has done so many things that I don't know if it's too many to enumerate and elaborate on. But boy, she's there. JJ hit it right in the head though. When you need some help, Linda's the one. You call Linda. I had a little financial problem. I called Linda. I was going to call my brother. I said, no. I was going to call Jack. I said, to hell, Jack. I'm calling Linda. He's a lawyer. That's not good. Anyway, Linda's there for you, and she's done so many good things. It's too many to enumerate. But the last thing I'll just mention, because JJ hit it again, I nailed it, but the euphoria of you, it's like kind of floating on. I get a bang out of when you said to JJ and Judy, I'm getting married, and JJ's going, whoa, what? To what? To whom? To when? To what? But when you told us, and we were so excited, we said, good for you, great. But then Linda read me a love letter. And I got to say that, but this letter was so good. This was so good. I thought, my goodness gracious. And in fact, I said, did Peter write that? She said, no, I wrote that. I got to tell it like this, but it was terrific. It was a great letter. It was so good. I said, holy smokes, this makes Nancy Reagan look bad. I was very impressed. All I can say is, but I got the feeling just like Jay and Judy, holy cow, this is exciting. And as everybody you look back in your early days and when you were Twitter painted and you fell in love and it's just like Bambi. You're just floating around. Well, it was kind of. I said to Marie too. Isn't it neat to see? It's still possible. I got to work on it. Honey, I got my work cut out for
I'm
me.
going to stand up because he's going to keep talking. So I was not allowed to give a toast.
I'm going to sit down now.
Cheers.
You're the best, Linda. Believe me. Fun here. I mean, a little bit of it too. Peter, you get your hands full.
I will say something. So, this is very spontaneous.
Congratulations. Oh, you-
Kristen.
Wait till she sits down. Coaching. Very good.
So I wasn't going to say anything, but I will say something. Because I will go off on Uncle Jimmy's comment on being Twitter-pated, which is a reference to Bambi. Remember the Disney movie. But I do have to say, obviously you get to know your parents in a certain combination. And they are, and I never, needless to say, saw my mother in this sort of joyous, happy, giddy stage because I was merely a twinkle in the eye. And even though I did want to enjoy, go to the wedding, as I said, as a little girl. But I think it is wonderful that, Peter, you have brought out a part of her that I've never seen, because her relationship with my dad was different, and it was also older and it was also longer. But you were bringing out, it's like it's like a fresh crocus in spring, and we go from the old bitter negative married couple to this freshness, and it is really, really wonderful. And so I want to thank you, because I'm seeing a part of my mother I've never really seen before, and it is quite lovely, and it's nice that she doesn't call me nearly as much.
All good.
I know. Or Carol. You've taken a lot of burden off of us. I appreciate that. And I welcome, and honestly, it's nice to have somebody that we get new stories and a new audience for our stories too. So I look forward to hearing about you and your childhood and what makes you tick, but you are bringing a part of my mother out that I have not seen. So thank you very much.
And Chris and I are having fun having John.
Dumping data on.
That was well done. She nailed ya. She did.
I'm not sure what you would say, but she's
That didn't get into
I hear him representing the non-family contingent. But among those of us that were fortunate enough to be considered close friends to be invited to this special intimate occasion. Now, I will say, I think I can safely say that in this room, nobody except Jake and Jay have the same honor I had. And that was to be at Jack and Linda's wedding in Tarrytown, New York on August 27, 1960. As usual, Linda's able to steal the show. Yes, Linda, I know you were there, but you were a hell of a lot younger though. Anyway, I was there, a beautiful little white church in Tarrytown, New York. Jack and I were just about to start our third year at New York University Law School. And it was a very, very special occasion. I knew then that Jack and Linda were a wonderful couple. She was still a kid, excuse me, in a way, just out of Barnard. Jack was going into his third year of law school. When I look at pictures of that day, I think, wow, did they really look that young? They look the same. Anyway, that was a very special occasion. Your father, your mother, it was just a very, very special day. And so I carry that memory with me. Jack, for those of you that don't know, was the first guy that met me when I showed up at NYU Law School in Labor Day weekend. Excuse me, I'm not in tearful. I'm just
He's just choking on a salmon.
choking on a wonderful salmon. Anyway, I was a small town Minnesota kid, Macalester College. Suddenly, Never been to New York before. I show up in Greenwich Village, Labor Day weekend of 1964, and who's there to greet me at our Hayden Hall apartment? Jack Hessler.
Oh, nice.
And immediately I knew, even though he was from Little La Crosse, Wisconsin, which isn't so little,
It's a little.
but anyway, it was something because he had been to Georgetown with the big folks.
Yeah.
Traveled all over the world with his family. Knew New York like the back of his hand, and of course knew Linda. And so the first thing Jack Hessler said, demonstrating his worldliness, "Oh, David, you got to welcome you to New York. Feast of San Gennaro, let's go down to Little Italy." So here I am, from McAllister College to Little Italy in a couple of weeks. So, but it was wonderful. Jack then became my fast friend. We've been friends until the day he died. We was with him the day before he died.
Yeah.
And what a terrific person he was, and a perfect counterpoint, but also a companion with Linda.
Yeah.
So imagine our amazement. I was asked a few times to join the old Georgetown championship rowing team. They would come out to Minnesota every summer for a time up in the Boundary Waters. So I met several of Jack's rowing mates, not Peter, because Peter at the time was doing what was referred to here earlier, and I think probably by Father McDonough, taking care of and looking out for the pleasure of his wife Carol. And Peter, it was such a touching homily because it touched on that point of the quote from Scripture that you're there for making the pursuit of the other's happiness. And that's clearly what you were doing with Carol. And so you missed the 2 or 3 years that I was on those trips, or I would have met you sooner. But then last summer, as he came out to visit Jack, I had a chance to we had a chance to meet Peter. And Peter, though different, you represent so many of those wonderful qualities that Jack had. Outgoing, personable, willing to accept people. And it was not a surprise to us at all that you and your wife Carol and Jack and Linda were close friends all those years, ever since the Georgetown days. And then to hear later that Linda, having gone through what you went through with Carol, she went through with Jack. And to bring that commonality to this marriage gives you both a better perception of what it means really to pursue the happiness of the other. And you have both done that in your respective lives, and now I know you will continue to do it in this life together. We cannot be happier than to have heard that news. Shocking, yes. Surprising. Judy went over because Linda said, let's go for a walk. They went for a walk and she gave her the news. And then Judy called me and said, you got to come over to Linda's. I said, no, we're supposed to meet somewhere else for another event. So why do I have to go to Linda's? Well, because she has something for you. Well, I thought she had a soup or a salad because that's what she normally has. And instead I get in, the first thing she says as I'm walking into what was Jack's office, the beautiful office looking over the Japanese garden, park, as I would call it. First thing she says is, David, I'm getting married. As all of you have reflected, yes. Oh my goodness.
Sat down.
Like all of you have referenced also, as soon as she said to whom she was getting married, I could see immediately what it was. And I don't want to repeat what others have said, but again, Linda, the last many months since Jack died, our dear friend Jack, and it was a very difficult emotional experience for all of us, and especially me as a longtime friend. But it was very emotional, and you lived some loneliness. Beautiful house, beautiful garden, but you were lonely, and you weren't the same Linda. In fact, Linda then signed up for the place that Judy and I just moved to at Marvella, part of the Highland Ridge development in Highland Park, St. Paul. 48 years in the house where we raised our family. And that was a huge emotional transfer for us. We were still adjusting. But then Linda, as we talked, said, I want to sign up there and at least be on the waiting list. we aren't always going to be in good health. We're not always going to have to assume that we're going to be living forever together and die together. Plan ahead. And so that's what we did, and we got in there and been there now a few months. But we're so happy to hear that Linda had taken the step of at least getting on the list. And now, Peter, in your life, Linda, that gives you time to reflect on that and what you really want to do. I could still see the two of you moving into a place like Marvella Presbyterian Homes. Seriously, I think it's a beautiful place. It would not be 1630 Edgecombe. It would not be the place that you and Jack built, or that beautiful garden, but it would be a wonderful place. And if the day comes when the two of you need to think seriously about that move, I encourage you to do it. And I know you will do it well together, because we have so much respect for Peter and what you bring to this relationship, and Linda for what you bring to the relationship. And we know whatever you decide, all we know is that we're happy for you and wish you many, many years of continued happiness together, pursuing the happiness of each other. So thank you.
Wow.
David, can we sign up too? Where can I put the money down?
I want to get David to work in a real estate company.
That was absolutely lovely, and I have to say that even if we didn't love David Rand, we invite him to all our parties because he always gets the best toast. He did in Sweden, he's saved the day many times, and they're heartfelt and lovely and touch on many, many years of friendship. But I feel so lucky to be married to Peter. I am nuts. I haven't felt so giddy. Peter and I have talked for the last month, 5 hours a day, 1 hour business, 4 hours.
That's why I can't get a hold of you.
Nonsense, I can't even tell you what we talk about.
Twitter painted.
Yeah. But there were some things that I heard from Peter that made him especially attractive. One, these are things I never heard in 56 years of marriage to Jack. I like to cook. Give me a list of things that need to be fixed. So, and he does love to garden too, which is great, and likes to be busy. So that was very attractive. But the thing that really made especially is not only the years of friendship, it's two things I saw in Peter's character. And one was the way he cared for Carol. Because Carol was unhooked, I went out to see her. She had supposedly 3 days to live, and she lived another 18 or 19 months that Peter cared for her every day. And Jack and I went out and saw them, and Peter was exhausted, and we were exhausted seeing it. But the way he did it with such grace, cooking dinner too, I paid attention to that.
Just the way you did it.
Well, but I had a shorter time, and Peter and Carol were my coaches when Jack was sick, because cancer is a very destabilizing experience. Every time you think you're going here, you're actually going there, and so it changes. You cannot rest. And so Peter was a great coach. At one point, I was talking about a future, and he said to me, "There is no future. Just enjoy every day," and that's what it comes down to. Plus, you do learn that you start to mourn the person you're with the day of the diagnosis. You know there's no good ending. And so you just figure out how to make the best and make them have the best life they can. But the other thing that was particularly touching to me about Peter's character was that last February, Jack was in the hospital. He had kidney failure. The cancer was metastasized to the liver, and he was just in misery. He was being poisoned. And so the first surgery hadn't worked, and they were doing another. In the meantime, typical Jack style, he was trying to finish up a campaign for Georgetown women's coaching. And Peter, Jack, and Rick Reynolds, a friend from, were kind of the stalwart people, but they were raising $300,000, and Jack had the last, $30,000 to raise. He's in the hospital calling people and you know, the end of a campaign, you're getting $500,000 gifts. It's really hard. And Peter, we found out later, thought, what could he do for his friend Jack? He wrote the check for $30,000. Sent it to Georgetown, said this is to be done anonymously, but call Jack in the hospital and tell him the contributions have come in and he doesn't have to make any more calls. And to me, that is the mark of this man and his friendship.
That's pretty good.
And the whole Georgetown crew group is an amazing group of men. You know, Carol and I used to do the reunions, and one of the things you see is, I think one of the reasons they're such a tight group is Georgetown did nothing for them. They're trying to get rid of them all the time. And so between their baking cookies, which were not very good, and George's wife, who was a German thread heiress who would buy the equipment and everything, they ended up being national champions a couple of times. But they are tight as a group in a way that Kristen's talked about at Columbia, rowing on the crew there, my brother at Brown, that when you're given things, it's not the same thing. This group had to work together, they'd drive everything. And it's a remarkable group of men. And I am their sort of sweetheart of Sigma Chi, because I started sending out information. I said, it's the closest I'll ever get to being that sweetheart. But, you know, they quickly learned that the men won't do the communications, we women who bind the groups together. So they stopped thanking Jack and just went directly to me. But Peter's part of that crowd, and it's a wonderful group, and I hope you get to meet them all, because one thing about crew, it's a leveling sport. You are all equal in the boat. There are no stars. And the fact that Peter could row with Jack all those years, and he said Jack would lecture him up and down the Potomac, which you can imagine. It was all very different people, but all very respectful of each other. And that's carried up through, you know, in their 70s, 80s, and through death. So thank you, Peter. You're a good guy. I wouldn't have allowed myself to fall in love with anything.
Okay. Since the women need to speak, and I'm on the friend side, I'm not on the relative side, and I want to address this particular to these three guys right here.
Look at the look on this one.
It's not going to hurt. It's going to be okay. And I don't know Peter well, but we've already decided what we're going to do with Norwegian genealogy. We're a takeover company right here. And that's, I can't speak to his Irish commitment and family, but we've already got some things established. But what I have particularly experienced and enjoyed is the quality in Linda. It says, that can be a little bit better. Yeah. Let's check that detail. Let's chase those other travel arrangements. Let's just make it one more dimension of richness. Don't give up. Pick another guide. Change that airplane. Change that flight 8 times. Go where you can.
You know her quite well.
That is correct. But for each of you wonderful young men in front of me, if you've got somebody in your life who says, do it a little better, you got somebody special. Through those.
I have just 6 words.
That's not likely. Not likely. Not likely.
The pursuit of happiness in action.
Yes.
That was the most meaningful and poignant homilies. It wasn't a sermon, it was a homily, and so beautifully done. Literally, I had tears in my eyes. It puts every marriage or close relationship in context. That if I'm in it, you're supposed to make me happy. It doesn't work so well. When you and cause me to think more too. about how I should be more about making Judy happy, because she in turn has been such a big part of making Linda's life happy, because when they moved to town after their 2 years in Vista in Chicago, Judy and Linda, I think, became almost immediate friends, and so we raised our families together. Linda, you've always been a very important part of Judy's life, and she'll call her up and say, come on over for coffee. And of course, coffee at Linda's maybe means lunch and then something else. But seriously, again, Father McDonough, that comment was so meaningful to so many of us in this room, in any kind of a loving relationship, where you think more about the other rather than I need love, but no, I want to give you love, and that's what gives me happiness. So, thank you again. Oh, so where's dessert?
Where's the restroom?
His favorite thing in the world is dessert. He can forego the other.
My dad, so.
Sweet tart.
Oh, that, he's gonna fit in well.
My sons and Judy keep telling me.
That's why I wanted a couple.
I want to give my version of where were you when Kennedy was shot. I was at work and my phone rang and I didn't recognize the number and I flip it open and it's Linda. She obviously got my number.
Thank you. You're making my day tomorrow.
And she starts talking. She's like, well, we need a non-family member to be on this executive stuff. And she's going on and she says, Peter, you're going to meet him soon. He says, we're getting married. And I'm like, I was like, after I hung up the phone, I was like, I think she said she's getting married. So I called Terry right away. I was like, do you know Linda's getting married?
And he said, what?
Did you know that, Terry?
And I told Terry, this was like his son Jack called me and said I was getting married. I was like, all right, I gotta check with the parents first. So I decided I better check with Terry, make sure this was, and he was like, yeah, yep. So, Peter, I've already picked you out as sort of a quiet person, and that's a great combination of marriage. Terry and Kristen's kind of the same thing. Kristen does all the talking, Terry does all the listening. I see we got this sized up. Like Jack was very outgoing too, so now Linda has kind of restored this balance. And I've known the Heschlers quite a bit, and I'll tell you, Peter, you got to draw boundaries with them. But the great thing is they're not offended when you do that. Sometimes they keep going on, so you really got to draw boundaries. And I made some assumptions today, and I'm glad they've been dispelled. But John and Janet are not married. Because what was really throwing me off was because they had the last same name, but their son has a different last name. Very confusing. What's going on, it's going to be fun to get to know you more and be part of the Heschler clan here. As you see, they have a lot of good times and a lot of fun times, so I know there'll be many more of those events today.
Thank you. Very good. Maybe I should say something. I don't know why, but yes, I'm going to say something. Being the only girl, Janice Heschler, with 3 brothers and a very strong male father. Okay, I'm over here. Anyway, I just want to say for Linda, of course, when Linda, just to share some of these family things here. I remember when Linda came into our family way back in the way back,
And my father wasn't so sure about this setup here. And he was like, I'm not so sure. I said, listen, Jack loves her. Go with that. And it's like, and I all of a sudden I said, listen, you've got to go with it. I was the only girl in that family, so for Linda to come in as another woman or female with a bunch of strong males in there, I thought, go for it, Linda, you can do it. And she has. And she's helped me with my two children, a fabulous counselor. I call Linda a professional counselor. If you want to get some real information, you go to this woman and you get it. And you'll get the facts and it'll work, believe it. I mean, she's got great, knowledge, obviously, and it's been so helpful to me. I can't thank you. And of course, Jack, too. And now that we have Peter in there, it's all a good transition and a nice coming together. I think it's wonderful. I love it. Yeah, it's really great. And
I should have mentioned that you obviously were at the wedding too.
Thank you. I was in the wedding. Thank you very much. I was going to mention this. I was not only there, I was in it.
Sorry, David. That's
That's okay. I love it. I mean, this is fantastic.
Roses and
there were